The Gopher Way is a series of tunnels that connects buildings to each other across the Twin Cities campuses. It's used by a variety of students, professors, and university workers.
Once I became really familiar with them, they kind of became my preferred way of traveling around.
Especially when the weather isn't exactly favorable.
When it's really cold and snowy, or whenever it's raining, it just keeps me nice and dry and warm.
The Gopher Way wasn't always a planned project. It originally began as a series of loosely connected tunnels, many of which were used for maintenance purposes. But when former U of M president Mark Yudof came up to Minnesota after living in Texas for 26 years, he wanted to properly establish a system of underground tunnels. Thomas Fisher, an architecture professor and head of the Minnesota Design Center, said a big reason for that was because Yudof hated the cold weather.
Once after President Yudof came and the Gopher Way became a thing, then all of the new buildings that went in or renovated buildings really needed to respect that and to build on it. So you had buildings like Tate that was renovated, and they put a new tunnel under Church Street that it hadn't existed before. So it really became a system that was more or less planned and incorporated into new projects. And so that was the difference that President Yudof made.
Although the tunnels have undergone improvements throughout the last couple decades, they still come with a series of problems. Some areas are difficult to navigate, while others are currently impossible to access. As you can see, the entrance here to Morrill Hall is temporarily closed.
But it's still not necessarily a well-planned system. It still has this quality of being ad hoc and somewhat incremental in its development.
Yeah, when you're going through the tunnels, sometimes it doesn't feel like you're walking through the U proper. And some parts are definitely like a little more like classical architecture, I guess is a way I'll say it. It's like it just feels like they haven't been touched up in a long time. I don't necessarily see a problem with it, but it's definitely something that you notice.
Fisher said he's an avid user of the tunnels, and he said there were many things the university could do to improve access to the tunnels.
For students that might have some visual impairment, more tactile responses, more, for example, signs in Braille, or railings that could help somebody navigate through touch. I think we could use sound. I think there could be ways that sound could help identify when you're in a certain place, in a certain building. More distinctive features that gave you a sense of when you were in one building versus another and when you were under the street. So you had some sense of when you were under a street versus inside a building.
And students also said they'd like to see improvements to the accessibility of the tunnel and skyway system, like making more ways to access the tunnels.
I think that they could for sure add more elevators in certain buildings to get down to the Gopher Way area. As well as they're kind of tucked away. The entrances are through a lot of like doorways and stairways and all of that people who have disabilities and hard time walking can't necessarily get to.
Alex also had a unique perspective on how the U could make areas of the tunnels distinct from each other.
I feel as though the Gopher Way presents a really unique opportunity we could showcase more art using them. I think a lot of the times when you're walking through, it feels a little prison-y, because it's just like white walls, blank, all of that. And we have so many good artists at the U of M who would love an opportunity to like paint a mural on some of the walls or to hang up their work or anything like that, to make them more inviting and also to give students an opportunity to practice their art in real time.
And Fisher took it a step further. He said that expanding the navigation system could provide students and staff alike with meeting spaces, study areas, and more.
Well, I think the tunnels have a potential for being a different kind of space than anywhere else on campus. I mean, so much of our space is devoted to teaching rooms, laboratories, offices. The tunnels, like a sidewalk in a city, are this one place where you can encounter a diverse group of people. And I think it would be interesting to think of them more like sidewalks, where in fact there might be, particularly if there was daylight, places where you could actually gather and sit. And I think, particularly in our long winter days, it might actually be a really useful and engaging place where people could meet in the tunnels, see each other in the tunnels. It would actually improve safety.
If there was ever an effort or a movement to expand on them, get more of them around campus, I'd say that's a pretty great initiative. Yeah.
Neil Roy for the Minnesota Daily.